this year in Le Mans, but I reckon he had it pretty easy compared to this. This is some major understeer. It actually rolls, I think, a little bit less than a normal 2CV because the suspension has been adjusted, has been lowered, and there's an anti-roll bar fitted. It looks pretty dramatic from the outside, but it doesn't actually feel all that bad from in here. It's just extraordinary lack of grip. It's at it again. Time to unleash the 35 horsepower now. Build up the speed down the main straight. Third into fourth, very nice smooth gear change there. Must be doing about 50. We've got another car in the way here. Slow down.
Now, I've got to be honest, that was practice. No way was I actually going to race the thing. You see, you don't make a racing car out of a 2CV just by fiddling with its suspension settings and changing the anti-nuclear stickers for something more appropriate. This is Mondello Park outside Dublin. It's a charming, pretty little circuit. A bit backward perhaps, but home this weekend to a wonderfully amateur spirit.
It's my first race this weekend, and I had to arrange the overalls for the race meeting because you need fireproof racewear for the race. And when the chap phoned me up, he asked had I ever raced in the wet before. I said, no, I hadn't. And he said, well, aren't you a bit worried about it? And I said, well, no, I've never raced before at all anyway. Apart from once in lawnmowers. Lawnmowers are quicker.
Well, Nick turned up around my house one night, just said, Dave, how'd you feel about driving a 24-hour race? And, well, I was quite surprised at the time. And I was expecting a Jaguar, Mercedes, something like this. And at the time I was taking a cup of coffee, and he said, no, we'll be driving a 2CV. And of course, that, you're joking. But that's basically it. I said, yeah, I'll have a go, you know, why not?
Have you got any spares with you?
Very limited.
Like what?
I think we're down to a bag of crisps now.
Mind you, once the race got underway, a curious red mist descended on proceedings. The first few laps were an orgy of pushing and shoving, which spilled over into the pits when people came in for repairs. Now, the backdrop wasn't very Le Mans-ish, and the team uniforms weren't quite up to McLaren standards. But these boys had spirit, believe you me. Spirit doesn't help the car stop, though.
You're pumping it up and it comes up. They're not boiling. They're pumping it up. On that one. They just need adjusting.
On the front, Nick. Water the brake.
Well, I don't
he says we shouldn't have any brakes back on.
Progressively went down one. They were pretty lunatic first half dozen laps. Somebody gave me a real good whack up the backside, knocked my wing into the wheel, which caused us pit stop. We just had to bend the wing out. We were warned to cut the rear wings away, but we needed the area for sponsorship decals, so we didn't do it. Then I hit someone else again, and there are one or two loonies out there, and I suppose I'm half qualified, but good fun.
Eventually, when people realised it wasn't a sprint, the pace became a deal more leisurely, sort of glacial, actually.
Now, as you would imagine, this being Ireland's premier motor racing circuit, but there are only two, and this being Ireland's first ever 24-hour race, you're going to get people coming from miles around to see it. Le Mans, remember, you get 250,000 spectators. Here, well, I reckon there's about 12. Nah, I'm only kidding, there must be at least 15.
Those who stayed away missed some argy-bargy about tyre wear, they missed some wonderful improvisation, and worst of all, they missed some spectacular facial hair. In 24-hour racing, you don't argue about changing windscreen wipers in a pit stop. You keep your car on the track and you drive fast.
Well, the speed differential is slightly different from the cars I would drive, maybe about 200-mile-an-hour difference. But still in all, the same ingredients are required. You've got to concentrate, you've got to balance the car to the corner. And the drivers are telling me they're quite physical, and I would have thought physical wasn't the word, I would have thought aerobatic, because the angles they're getting at are quite amazing.
Well, it's night time now. They've been on the go for, what, 8 hours? They've got another 16 hours to go. The extraordinary thing is, there's been a few bumps and bashes, but not a single retirement. That's amazing for a car that was designed, what, 40 years ago? And this team, to help them see in the dark, have brought along what they consider to be the most secret weapon yet. A supply of carrots.
I must admit the strain of this malarkey was getting to me, but I had a comfy bed to go to. The competitors needed to keep the adrenaline going.
It's really going well, yeah. It's really good out there. It's better when it's dark, it's more fun. Yeah, I should say so. Because you can't see them pulling faces at you even behind. It's great. I haven't done one of these before, so it's absolutely wonderful.
Best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Right, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 hours still to go, and there's been a dramatic change in the weather. That's dampening everybody's spirits just a little bit. Even so, of the 31 starters, 29 are still running. One's out with broken suspension, and the other one, well, they're going to replace its engine, something they say will take about half an hour, then it should be back. Well, there's just a couple of laps to go now, and it looks like Team 13 scored a fairly convincing victory. They've done about 900 laps, and that puts them 13 laps ahead of the guys in second place. Puts them 200 laps ahead of the guys in 29th place, but don't get a false impression. There's actually some fairly heavy-duty dicing going on midfield, and some of the drivers have been saying it's even more competitive now than it was 24 hours ago.
And so it was that the first ever 24-hour race for 2CVs was won by the really rather professional Team 13. And now, with all the eloquence of Nigel Mansell, but without the whinging, they sum up what it feels like.
Great fun, magic. I'm stuck for words, I'm breathless.
It's really exciting.
It really is, just really good fun.